Hey guys, thanks for joining again. Welcome back to the remaining part of lecture 7. What we have discussed in previous class is about the different recombination of the gene segments in terms of heavy and light chain, how they combine. I've shared some YouTube links where Frank lectures. They have very nicely done the simulations of this. They have given a very nice overview of that. Go through that light and heavy chain combination, how the recombination sequences happen. So I will cover a little bit on this following in next few slides. So how this, for example, a V, specifically DJ will join and then we will join with the DJ. How it happens is basically we're looking at the fundamental level about rearrangement or recombination of the DNA sequences. Recombination event between two DNA sequences happens when there is a specific homologous regions called recognition sequences called recombination signal sequences. Two fragments of DNA, DNA B, DNA C, having these sequences at the specifically in the downward region. For example, 5' 3' DNA goes DNA portion A, DNA portion B. These sequences are at the 3' end of the previous sequence, next 5' end of the other sequence. We will see in the diagram in the next diagram. And they are regulated by specific genes called recombination activating genes. They specifically code for proteins called RAGs. RAG1, RAG2 is that the genes that control these recombination events during B cell generation or diverse B cell population generation. You are looking at a slide here where they talk about different segments of heavy chain here, V, D, J, and C. And you see in the light chains here, K and lambda, there is no D region. Then you are looking at specific V region here. They are seeing a small 23 base pair spacer here. This whatever triangle is called spacer. Again 23 here. There is a 12 base pair spacer. We will see what are those sequences. And then you have a small chains, light chains here, V1, VA, VK, and then they have a arrangement here, reverse arrangement. For example, in the this chain called lambda, where there is only 23, 23 in the V regions, in the J regions, 12 base pair spaces are there. But comes to on the K chain, this orientation is reversed. 12 is here, 23 is here. So basically, the recombination activating genes, they will produce a RAG proteins. The proteins simply, they don't look at the segments here. Whatever the color, whatever the segments VG, they don't care. They just care for a specific sequences of a spacer sequences in this orientation, 2312 or 1223. They come and combine these DNA fragments, two DNA distinct DNA fragments having these spacers. Then they start looping them. They will go for a mechanism of excision. Example here, 2312 adjoined by a RAG protein here. And then they are being closed in the three-dimensional conformity. And there is a loop excision process will happen. In that excision process, these spacer sequences are taken out along with whatever DNA sequences are in between them. Any spacer, any introns, whatever present in between. Either exons are there, introns are there, they don't care. They just recognize 123 or 12 here, immediately go to next 23 or 12, grab everything in between, loop them, and excise the portion of with 23, 12 together, whatever that they come in between, they excise them in a loop excision process, leaving whatever DNA present in this, end of this, previous, and end of that, and combine them to form the exam by a VJ recombination. This is the process of happens in terms of recombination in the immunoglobulins. What are these recombination signal sequences? What is this 2312 we are talking? We are depicting them here only spacers. But if you zoom in, you're looking in a direction of 5' to 3', 5' to 3' only. The first sequence that you encounter in this recognition sequence is called heptamer. That is a 7 nucleotide stretch that is conserved and then followed by a spacer, followed by a nonamer. That is a 9 nucleotide sequence. So any RSS within the immunoglobulins will have this structure, 5', 3'. You take back in again opposite direction, 5', 3', start from heptamer again, spacer, nonamer. Spacer may be 12 or 23 base pairs. And you see the directionality I'm talking. This stretch triangle represents 5' down 3'. The transcription is moving in this direction. Here transcription is moving in this direction. So this is the functional unit, how this recombination will happen by RSS and RAG proteins. You go into a little bit more into textual details. The rule is called 1223 rule. Only those combination of 1223 spaces will be combined, no other. Either 1212 will not be combined, 2323 will not be combined. Only a spacer with 12 will combine with a spacer with 23. Okay. So then the recombination signal is defined by a short non-coding DNA sequence containing conserved heptamer and nonamer separated by 12 to 23 base pairs, which indicate the sites of recombination. They are present following the downward region of every V, D, and J segment, flanked by the RSS immediately. And the RSS present at the 3' downstream of 1V of region, and then it's present in the 5' upstream region, 5' side of the J, that will combine in that. And this is again top strand, bottom strand, coding of each heptamer, spacer, and nonamer, how they will combine here. Again, remember that 12 to 30, 12 plus 23 rule applies. The rule prevents a combination of 2V or 2Js because they may have either 12 plus 12 only, 23 or 23 only. By doing so, this rule, the recombination will be prevented between V's, only coming with the V and J or V and the DJ. Those segments are. Again, same combination, same pattern here. You look at the different color coding here, directionality, and see that the V and J here in the heavy chain cannot combine because they are represented by blue only, and only the D and J can combine with the opposite color. This combination can combine with this color. So one more important that called this 23 base pair is called 2-turn recombination sequences. This 12 is called 1-turn RSS because based on the 12 base pairs, 23 base pairs length, the length of the 12 base approximately combines with a major and minor groove of a DNA double helix that constitute 1 turn of the DNA. 1 turn of the DNA is approximately 3.4 nanometer that constitute 1 major groove, 1 minor groove. They accommodate approximately 11 base pairs of the DNA. So it's close to 1 turn of DNA, close to 2 turn of DNA. Another term is combined for that. So how the looping, you're looking at the directionality here, but in 3-dimensional, the strands will be combined in an anti-parallel direction. Looping process will happen based on whether DNA is going downwards, whether the parallel V and J are here in the parallel arrows going in this direction, or maybe the J is in the opposite direction. Based on the directionality, there is a specific looping happens, but again, they come into a specific process where the joints removed, excision lost, and the VJ are combined. The people were able to observe this phenomena in vivo when they were analyzing these DNA samples in the cells. They could see that small circular fragments at a time they are looped here in a distinct loop structures, but at a time they have been excised into a specific location here. Based on this combination of the loops, these are all DNA strands here, the circles, and deletion excision loop, they could able to propose the process. So again, coming on to which chain should be transcribed when. Because heavy chain can combine with K chain, it can combine with the lambda chain. A process of combination of heavy and light chain will give one more variety of the immunoglobulins. How it will happen, and also when the V should be transcribed, when the D should be transcribed in a given heavy chain. So there is a developmental timing, developmentally regulated gene expression that happens, because we are talking here VJ can combine. Here VJ can combine in opposite direction. If I see that, can I see into another concept where in heavy chain, V can combine with D also, forming VD. D can combine with J, form DJ, and both can combine as a light chains. But it is not happening. Only the DJ will start first. Then these DJ combinations will combine with V only. That is the thing people were able to observe during their chemical methodology or immunological methods. Why is that? They were able to see that given the gene of the heavy chain, given the B cell development, they never saw the V's coming first. The V, there is a promoter upstream here for each V, each D, each combination of J. They could see multiple promoters. This promoter specifically for VH in the beginning of the B cell development was switched off. It's not at all formed at all. Not at all transcribed. There is no VH exon at all. It started with the promoter on here so that DJ combination can form. Once these combinations will form, then the V started promoter was on, then V units were coming, then a combination of V combining with DJ was happening. So that is specifically saying that regulation of immunoglobulin gene transcription is controlled. The immunoglobulin genes are expressed only in the D lineage cells, and even within this lineage, the genes are expressed at different rates at different developmental stages. As such, how this regulation is controlled? It is controlled by 3 units of the DNA which control gene expression on and off. One is called promoter, and another is called enhancer, another is called silencer. Wherever there is silencer associated with the promoter, specific transcription of those VDJ segments are off. Wherever the promoter is associated with the enhancer, specific fragments are coded with the same mRNA in multiple times, multiple processes, multiple amounts of the same VDJ fragments are formed. So how is that? Whatever I discussed in the previous slides, a H chain, K chain, lambda chain. H chain will have a promoter before this VH. VH again, each individual VH will have one more promoter again, followed by D promoters. For example, K chain you see, followed by different promoters, different silencers here, and then different enhancers also. Based on that, which one is on given the time, they can code specific variable proteins in that. Because the variable region encoding of this should be controlled, because the antigen, once it activates it, it may activate only specific variable peptide here only, specific exon only. So by that trigger, only this P region will be on, these two will be off. So there is a combinatorial control. Energy should not be wasted. Only a specific fragment can be formed, because it will be produced per second 2000 immunoglobulins later. They don't want to make every time different variables of these 2000s, again pick specific one. It's waste of energy and homeostasis. So once this promoter is on, based on the antigen recognition, only all these are switched off, only starts transcription from here. That's the way it's controlled at the gene transcription level. And we were talking in the last few slides about these leader sequences, the black things, which follow up with the VH regions. What are these leader sequences? Why they are there? Specifically at the 5' region, specifically in the starting of this any transcriptional unit of any chain, any DNA here, because they are called leader peptides or leader sequences. These are called short signal or leader peptides. Mainly any sequence that associates any DNA, any nascent mRNA that associated with leader sequence or nascent polypeptide that will undergo specific process of maturation in a rough endoplasmic reticulum. We will see that. Any polypeptide that constitute this signal leader peptide from the nascent light and heavy chain, they will help in the assembly and transport of this protein molecule, nascent immunoglobulin polypeptide. How does it do that? So it's a signal processing mechanism, synthesis, assembly, and secretion of the immunoglobulin molecule. Initially, you are looking at a species of the cell compartment called rough endoplasmic reticulum, then this smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Then you go into in terms of localization of this, how this specific IgG produced here move into the membrane of the B cell here. We just break this and look into the process in rough endoplasmic reticulum, what is happening here. Here, one light chain, one heavy chain are going into transcription on, they are making the polypeptides here, specific to the light chain and heavy chain, whatever combination they picked. Once they go here, there is already, we know that each of the beginning, there is a leader sequence. The leader DNA codes for a short nucleotide, short polypeptide of a leader peptide. The leader peptide will allow you to attach to the rough endoplasmic membrane. By recognizing this leader peptide, specific cleavage process will happen. Specific molecules will come. They cleave this leader peptide, specifically in the nascent polypeptide. They start cleaving this leader peptide, make them secreted, not membrane bound. They make them secreted. Each one constitutes into another a different form of three-dimensional conformation of the polypeptide, gives rise to specific immunoglobulin, specific antibody. That antibody is released again through a smooth endoplasmic reticulum and in the Golgi complex. In the Golgi complex, it goes through a process of processing. Cis to trans Golgi, it moves along. During this movement, specific glycosylation events will happen. See the constant region of the heavy chain. These glycosylated sugar molecules are added. Then they become coated with secretory vesicles. This secretory IgG will move up. They move into the secretory vesicles, go to the membrane of the immunoglobulin, specifically B cell, attached to the immunoglobulin IgG here. For example, B cell receptor, but if it is secreted completely after from plasma cell, it will be immediately released into the plasma of the body and it moves and attaches specific antigen and neutralizes them. So this is an important concept, how a signal peptide can help in the processing of the immunoglobulin through the B cells. So that brings to the end of the class that whatever we discussed. So in summary, so the session has been discussing overall into structure and organization of the antibodies, further structure and organization of the genes and gene segments for the light and heavy chains, different combinatorial mechanism and different exons and different polypeptides can be produced. In summary, the whole organization and expression of immunoglobulin genes is divided into 4 steps or 4 processes. The first 2 processes are the consequence of recombination events where the gene segments VDJ can recombine to provide specific V region exons during B cell development. That 2 of these processes, one is called light chain VJ recombination, another one is called heavy chain VDJ recombination event. Once those combinations will form, a specific set of heavy and light chains are formed. In the third step, light chains and heavy chains with the distinct combinations will combine again to give different immunoglobulin molecules. And the fourth one is again there is a mutational process called somatic hypermutation that occurs during maturation of the B cells, where the DNA will be again rearranged into the V regions. That so fundamentally, if you write these 4 steps, that comes to the conclusion of the generation and diversity of the antibodies. So basically now you can stop the